Yes, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is the latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. We're going to be diving into the latest around Arsenal. Now, Everton are expecting a couple of bids to be coming in between now and the end of the transfer window for Amadou Onana. Arsenal are one of those clubs that Everton are banking on to go in there and bid for Amadou Onana. Arsenal are also preparing a way to bid for Amadou Onana, but the situation is not changing. Arsenal are still in a meeting and they're still discussing the financial fair play situation. Arsenal know we cannot buy without selling, so therefore we have to deliberate further and further before we get into the market. Now, Arsenal are also looking at Leonardo Spinazzola at Roma as a fullback option. We are of course exploring the loan market. We're trying to sign players on loan, and Leonardo Spinazzola, whose contract runs down in June this year, could be an option for Mikel Arteta. He's turning 31, so that could be a very good option there. Arsenal are also looking at Gerard Hato, but Ajax are really keen on keeping him, and Ajax are saying that they will do whatever it takes to keep Gerard Hato at Ajax come next season. So there's a lot going on. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Let me know in the comment box below. Do you think and are you confident Arsenal will sign Amadou Onana in this January transfer window? It's a very interesting story. It's a very, very quick, quickly growing story. It's catching fire slowly and, slowly but surely. And looks like if Arsenal can get a bid in, Everton are really, really ready to sell. So hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the channel and get your thoughts in the comment box below. Right, so let's get into it. Everton today in the morning, reports are saying that Everton are expecting a couple of bids for Amadou Onana. A couple of clubs actually interested. It is not just Arsenal. So West Ham, I've seen. Manchester United, I've also seen them interested. I think Man United do have midfield problems. At the moment they're playing a 15-year-old Mainu in midfield. So that is the extent to which they need a new midfield reinforcement. So Everton have put out their announcement. They are ready to sell. They are ready to sell Amadou Onana, and they're expecting a couple of bids. But Arsenal is one of those clubs Everton are banking on to get in their bid at least as early as the 20th of January. Now, I think, listen, I said it yesterday, Arsenal have to work quickly on this deal. At the moment, we are still, evaluating our financial position to see what kind of deal and how heavy can we go. I mean, it's a very, very good thing for you to know your financial ability and your financial constraints, and that's what Arsenal are trying to do at the moment. But we don't have a lot of time on this deal, and we are not the only club interested in Amadou Onana. For a player to be 22 years of age, available in January, with the midfield, scandals and the midfield crisis clubs have at the moment, I won't be surprised to see him go to a club like Manchester United. Listen, United at the moment, they might not have a lot of money to spend as well. Just like Arsenal, they have financial fair play problems, but I think they can squeeze a 30 million. They can squeeze 35 million and go and sign Amadou Onana. So as we assess our financial situation, as we look into what's going to happen when we sign him, we should also consider the factor of time. Everton don't have a whole January. They don't have the whole month. They want to sell him as quick as possible so that they can actually bring in a new player, and that's the real reason as to why they're selling him quickly in January. Sean Dyche wants a couple of players, and the club know he's done a great job. He's done a very good job to keep them in the Premier League and to keep them actually thinking about staying in the Premier League already with a 10-point deduction. So the club want to back him. They want to give him a couple of signings, probably in January, 1 or 2. But that's going to depend on how quick they can sell. That's going to depend on how quick they can move on Amadou Onana. So I'm getting the feeling if Everton get a bid from anywhere else, they will sell. Now, Arsenal have contacted Everton. They know we are interested. They know our financial position. We know their financial position as well. But that doesn't mean Arsenal have any reason to think, well, Everton will wait for us. We can't wait. They can't wait for us, right? If they get around 40-45 million, they will sell. And I think it will be a bad miss, like a really, really bad miss. It's one of those deals that are cheap, available. We know Arsenal to jump onto available trends and available opportunities on the transfer market. This one is one of them. But of course, we will see how how things are going to be working out. Now, a very major important update from John Cross from the Mirror. He actually says that if Arsenal can sell ESR and Edin Ketia by June 30th, there might be a financial room to sign a midfielder stroke a striker. And he also says it's the other way around. So if Arsenal cannot sell one of those two by June the 30th, then there is no room to sign a midfielder. There is no room to sign a striker as well. So I think, listen, this is what's going on. Arsenal know what they have to do to correct their books. It is to sell one of these players. It is to sell one of these academy players before June the 30th. Even if it's not, even if it's not an academy player, but at least a player who you can sell and register, the income as profit. So there is Edin Ketia, there's Ramsdale, there is ESR, there is Rhys Nelson, and a couple of other players like you might actually think about. So John Cross says that if they sell one of those players, if they sell one of them, then they're really ready to go and sign a midfielder or even a striker. There is a small financial room. But if they don't do that, then there is no room for a midfielder. There is no room for a striker as well. So what Arsenal should do, and what Arsenal what our best financial plan is, we must try to sell Edin Ketia and Emil Smith-Rowe starting in January. And I'm not saying that they should go in January, because purchases are not going to be as strong, and clubs will wait until the summer, assess their financial positions, and know who do we bring in, who do we not bring in, right? And expect Arsenal's busiest transfer month to be July rather than June, because we will have to wait until June the 30th to assess our financial position, and that will determine whether we buy as many players as Mikel Arteta wants, or we actually cannot afford them. But John Cross says that if Arsenal can start the process right now, probably negotiate with Crystal Palace right from January, by the time we get to May, we know how much they're willing to pay. We know how much they're willing to give to the player, and we also know the position of the player. Does he want to go to Crystal Palace? Does he want to go to Fulham or Brighton? So it's going to be on how smart we are in this window. This Amadou Onana deal, it's real gold. If we throw it away, we might not actually get a good deal as good as this, right? The likes of Zubamendi in the summer, you could go and sign Zubamendi. He's such a quality, exciting player. But for Amadou Onana, he comes in as a quick fix right now, a player that gives us that extra kind of depth in the squad. But then as well, in the summer, you don't sign another player. You actually, just reintegrating him in the squad and preparing for next season. So let's wait and see what Arsenal are going to do about that. But at least John Cross says that there is a small room for Arsenal to sign a midfielder if they can sell Nketiah or ESR before June the 30th. That is when this financial year ends, so Arsenal have to work against the clock. Now, Arsenal, of course, we are still looking at defenders. Mikel Arteta is madly interested in at least a fullback, and of course, you understand why. Tomiyasu has gone for the Japan for the Asian Cup. He might not be back for some time. Depends on how Japan are actually going to fare on in the Asian Cup. We do not have Zinchenko, who is out injured. We don't have Julian Timber, who is out injured as well. So Mikel Arteta thinks the priority at the moment is also to bring in a fullback. And Leonardo Spinazzola at Roma, the Italian, is really eyed by Arsenal. Now, Leonardo Spinazzola is 30, very close to turning 31. There has been interest in Leonardo Spinazzola across the Premier League. It's not just Arsenal, across the Premier League. And of course, he's available because his contract runs down in June, and he's not willing to sign a new deal at Roma. So I think he's one of the most exciting players that we have seen in the recent Euros with Italy. It's a shame that when Italy won it, he was not part of the squad. He had suffered a long-term injury, but he's such a quality player. Now, there's so many questions. After that injury, can we still look at Leonardo Spinazzola as one of the players that are really on top of their game? Probably not, right? But if we are going to get rid of Cedric, and we are going to get rid of a couple of other players, and we have an injury crisis in our fullback areas. Remember, Ben White is playing, but he's playing with an injury. I think Leonardo Spinazzola would be someone to come in and do the job for Mikel Arteta. He is not fancy, right? So he's not your this when Arsenal go and sign, or maybe Nico Schultz back, can play at centre back, can play at full back as well. He's not your Fadi Kadioglu as well, like exciting talent, very young, not really. He's an experienced Italian, and we know with Italians, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I really have the mindset that Italians are good at defending football, and that mindset has stuck with me for a very long time. But with Spinazzola, it could be a loan deal. Roma might want something small, right? Roma might want something small, but if the player has no plans of staying at Roma beyond his contract, and Arsenal have come in and provided an option for Roma to take the wages off, I think it would be something nice. I think it would be a win-win situation for Roma. Arsenal takes Spinazzola, we pay his wages, and therefore Roma don't have to pay his wages until the end of the campaign. The question is, are they using him that much? He's played 11 games so far this campaign, and that means that he's kind of been relevant and important, in the squad. But of course, Leandro Spinazzola there, wanted by Mikel Arteta. The other advantage he has as a player, he plays on the left wing as a fullback, and he plays also on the right fullback position. So for Italy in the Euros, he actually played as a left back. He played predominantly as a left back. But then he's a right back. Actually, he's better as a right back. That is where his football really is based. Is a right back. But he's got that ability to switch from one position to the other. He's very versatile, very flexible. The experience I like. I really, really do. Especially now that the Champions League is what we are looking at. What do you understand when we say Champions League quarterfinals, semifinals? One word: pedigree. That is the word. Pedigree. So if you have Leonardo Spinazzola, experienced, he's not really advanced into the Champions League quarterfinals and semifinals often, but that kind of player who will keep his composure, that kind of player that will keep his calm and will lead the young defense. Gabriel is young, Saliba is young, Ben White, those are all young players with raw experience. They don't have any experience in the Premier League. And I tell you, if you meet up a manager like Carlo Ancelotti and we do not have good experience in the team, it's going to be a joke. They will treat us like a joke. So I think it will be a very good encounter for Arsenal to get Spinazzola. It will make a very good experience for our defenders and for our team, for us to get a player like Leonardo Spinazzola. So Arsenal interested in Spinazzola. Nothing is developing on the story apart from the interest that I have seen online. And then Gerald Hartso, of course, another player that Arsenal and Mikel Arteta have been tracking for quite some time. Arsenal would love to bring him in, but Ajax are saying they are going to be keeping him. They don't want to lose him. They don't want to sell him. They want to keep him 100%. Now, with Gerald Hartso, I've always said this. He's one of the real talents at Ajax right now. And when it comes to Ajax, Borussia Dortmund, and Benfica, and young talents, I bet you don't want to get into a war with them. They know how to calm down young talents. They know how to deal with young talents. At some point in time, right? At some point, they will convince him to stay. At some point, they will show him the advantages of staying at Ajax over joining a club like Arsenal at 17. And I tell you, they are right. They will be absolutely right. So the director at Ajax has just said, we are going to do whatever it takes to keep Gerard Hartso at the club. Whatever it takes, whatever we need to do, we will actually do it. Gerard Hartso is going to be, a player for us come February. So he's not leaving in January, and also come next season. That means they don't want to keep him. They don't want to lose him in the summer. Now his contract runs down in 2026. That is why a couple of clubs, including Arsenal, have been thinking and monitoring him. They're saying if he's going to run down in 2026, and Ajax have failed to extend his deal, then probably this is where you come in. Give them around 15 or 20 million, and then you can actually sign him. But Ajax don't have any plans to sell, so Arsenal have to look elsewhere. Hato is going to stay. And I also think if the player is under very good management and is under very good, caretakership, they will advise him to stay at Ajax. They will advise him to stay until he's 20, right? Because at Ajax, he's got every single opportunity and every single chance to develop as a young player. When you come in at Arsenal right now, Saliba is looking at you, Gabriel is looking at you, Tomiyasu is looking at you, and Ben White is looking at you as well. That is enough quality for Arsenal to ruin your career as a young player. Now you can come in one or two games, but look at Aaron Ramsdale. How many games has he played as a player? One in the FA Cup, I think one or two, I think two in the Carabao Cup, and I think one in the Champions League. So he's played a few games, and then a few games as well in the Premier League, right? He's played a few games in the Premier League. So let's wait and see what's gonna come out of there. But Gerard Hato, Ajax want to keep him, so Arsenal might as well look somewhere else. Hit the like button for me, subscribe to the channel as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comment box below, and of course we'll be in touch with the latest around the club this transfer window.